Hello. Today we have a big topic to cover, which I hope I can do it in a short time. Um, Music is an art form, and any kind of art is a vehicle for expression, a vehicle for communication. And in music, I believe we can communicate or express in purely musical terms. So that means expressing our ideas of what constitutes a good melody, what constitutes a beautiful line, a beautiful shape, a beautiful balance, a beautiful contrast. So everything to do with aesthetics that remains purely in music. Which means there is also a part of expression in music that relates to something other than outside of music, extra musical. So that those will be emotions, and when we put one emotion after another, we can link it up and make it a story. And I think that in Bach's music in particular, it's easy to go into the storytelling mode because Bach's writing is very allegorical. He uses symbolic elements in his melodies, in his whole layers of writing. So we're going to have an example. This is the organ sonata, a slow movement from an organ sonata, which is often played by the Icelandic pianist Olafsson. So this little piece of music is quite extraordinary for its melody, its construction of melody, which doesn't actually sound like a melody. It doesn't sound like a typical melody because it's full of leaps, and leaps are not singable. They're not singing. They're not friendly for singing, and we want melodies to be singable. And in terms of the storytelling perspective, this non-singability of the melody sort of puts it at a far place, at a something outside of us, because it's uncomfortable. And that means it gives the music a narrative voice that is withdrawn or separated from the story that it is telling. So it's a narrator speaking about a story that happened in a faraway place, in a faraway time. And if we change the melody and take away the leaps, we can give it a different character, a different feel of how the story is being told. So when it's more singable with the same accompaniment, with the same general idea, the music suddenly becomes more intimate, more expressive. So it becomes something that is involved from the person telling the story. So it becomes a person telling his own story, and then it takes on a subjective feel. Let's compare the two melodies again. So the content is basically the same. What they are talking about is the same events. It's just that told from a different perspective. So we have the third person story, the first person narrative, the third person narrative, and the first person story. And in Shakespearean theatre, this kind of the first person telling his own story, it's what they refer to as soliloquy. So the famous line from Hamlet, "To be or not to be, that is the question." That is a person telling his own story, whereas a narrative is like a monologue. It's a person telling something to other people about something. Okay, and then there's a third mode of storytelling in Bach, and it's related to his spiritual life, and that's I think that's akin to a pastor preaching to his congregation. And the characteristic of this kind of storytelling is that it's an all-encompassing, the content is all-encompassing. You cannot escape from what Bach wants to tell or what the performer wants to say, and it's suitable especially for Bach's time, because in his society everyone is immersed in his Lutheran beliefs. So the first line of the Matthew Passion is, "Come, ye daughters of Zion, listen and see the Passion happening." You cannot escape from it. I have an example for you, and this is the Passacaglia, the organ Passacaglia in C minor. Yeah. And then it goes on. So the association with such a sound, the depth and the width of the sound, it gives that kind of all-encompassing feel, and I think it's one of the remarkable elements that we find in Bach's organ music, and which we also can find in his other output, but it's more obvious in the organ music. So that's all I have to share today, and I hope you can find other instances of the three modes of storytelling in your listening and in your playing. Thank you for watching. Bye.